A Turlock TikTok star is racking up millions of views and followers for his influential style when it comes to food. From pork belly to citrus ceviche and even cinnamon rolls, our next guest makes some of the most enticing food videos on all of social media. On social, he's known as Woodfire and Whiskey. Marco Sanchez is live with us today. He's going to cook up his take on pupusas in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Sounds very yummy, Marco. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, I see that you got everything prepped and ready, but before we get into the actual food demo, talk about why you started making food videos and what was your secret? How did you, attract all these followers?
I actually went into quarantine before California had locked down. I had gotten sick, and this was like early March, a few weeks before Governor Newsom had announced the lockdowns. And, when it was time for me to go back to work, we locked down, and I got pretty bored at home. So I turned on some cameras and I started cooking, and it just kind of took off from there. I started following the lead of some of the other creators that were on the app TikTok, and I don't really know what happened. I made a steak one day and I gained like 60,000 followers, and bam.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're taking a look at some video right there from your TikTok. So what are you going to make for us today? I mean, were you always a cook?
I've always loved to cook, especially for my friends. I was inspired by my stepfather. His name is Ernesto. Fantastic chef, amazing guy. He inspired me at a young age to just kind of experiment with food. He was from El Salvador. My grandmother's from El Salvador. So I've always had a fascination with food, especially cooking for my friends and people I love. Today, we're going to be making a childhood favorite of mine, pupusas revueltas. I've made some curtido, which is off to the side. I have my masa here. I have my bean, pork, and cheese mix. I got some Oaxaca cheese.
Okay.
My griddle is fired up, and I'm ready.
Okay, so you're ready to go, and we're gonna have to move this along because we don't have a lot of time. But show us how it's done, Marco.
So here we go. Easy. We're gonna take a little masa in our hands, roll it into a ball, press it down in the center, and I have a bowl with water and oil on the side. I found this technique on the internet.
Okay.
This helps to work with the dough, right? So you grab a little bit of your pork, bean, and cheese mixture, press it into the middle, grab some of this Oaxaca cheese. Oaxaca cheese is the best to melt.
Yeah.
It's so good, and that's what it looks like right there. Just gonna bring it together in the middle, start forming a ball, pinch off any of the excess at the top, put it back in our bowl, and then press down.
Okay.
Press down. If any of the cheese starts breaking through a little bit, it's okay. It's going to create this like burnt cheese. Is going to be delicious.
Yum.
I mean, that's the sign of it.
I like it.
Right there. So here we go. And then from there, it takes 5 to 6 minutes on each side. Just right on our griddle. I know you can't see it here, but I do have some already prepared so you can see.
Oh my goodness, the magic of TV. Yum, look at that. He plated it up and everything. I wish I could grab it from you and eat it. Now, I have to ask you, okay, so you said this all came up in the pandemic as a lot of people started cooking in the pandemic. What was your day job? Are you still doing that day job?
So I've owned a video production company since 2009.
Oh, so you had a background.
Yeah. I have all the cameras, the lights, all of that stuff here. I've been inspired by some great people from the Bay Area, where I'm originally from. So I already had all the gear to create the videos. I worked for an ad agency in Modesto where we worked on documentaries and
cool.
corporate videos. And my company, we had shot a lot of events and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely have the background in video. So this kind of it worked perfect.
You took it to the next level. And Marco, before we let you go, what is your favorite thing to make, or what's gotten you the most attention on social?
A French dip sandwich. I made my version of a French dip. I smoked some chuck roast until the point where it just falls apart and it crumbles in your hands.
Ooh.
That right there kind of took me to the next level, along with some cinnamon rolls that I think you mentioned earlier. I stopped the dough a little bit, so just held the dough, and I think just doing a little bit of that. Kind of
Slap it, Marco. Well, we're going to have to get you in the studio when we are able to get people back in the studio. But I want to thank you for joining us virtually today. And we're going to have to check you out on TikTok. If you want to find him on TikTok, Marco's at Woodfire and Whiskey. He's a fun guy. That was fun.